Okay, thank you everybody for bearing with me. So, welcome. We're so excited to have you all. So, I am Holly Northup. I'm with the Bucher Group. We are, for those of you that don't know us already, we are a real estate team here in Austin, Texas. And we are really excited to have Sasha with us from Design Organization. And she is going to go through and help you guys clear your clutter and organize through the chaos. So, Sasha, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Holly. So as you mentioned, I am Sasha. I own Design Organization, and I actually just officially started my business about 5 weeks before the coronavirus. So really good timing. Um, but I've been organizing as a nanny, as a house manager, and just a general neat freak for many, many years. So my goal is to just share some of the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way from organizing like many different spaces and different households. I hope you can take something away. And a couple housekeeping things. So I'm just gonna chat and show you things. I'm literally standing in my closet. So I'm gonna show you stuff. And if you have any questions that I don't get to throughout this whole Zoom call, use that. There's a chat box that should show up in the bottom of your screen. You can just send me questions there. And if I don't get to it today, then I plan on emailing each of you with links to all of the product I talk about and kind of the outline of what we discuss. So if I don't get to it tonight, I will definitely answer it in the email that you guys all get later in the week. So I will go ahead and get started and chat you through some things. So number one, I'm just gonna start talking about the process that I use, whether I am doing a pantry or a closet, big or small, a hoarder, it doesn't matter. I attack it with these same 4 steps, and I'll elaborate on each of them. So you don't need to write them down. Again, I'll share these all with you later. So number 1 is empty, 2 is sort, 3, purge, and then finally install and contain. So the first step is to empty the space, and it seems pretty simple and straightforward, but it's actually, it's pretty daunting because taking every single thing out of your closet is a task. But there's 2 reasons why I always clear 100% of whatever space I'm working in. Number 1 is you probably haven't seen your pantry, your closet, whatever it is, empty since the day you moved in. You haven't seen an empty shelf or an empty rack since day 1 of living there. So it's good to just start fresh, start clean, have a blank canvas, and to be able to wipe it all down, vacuum all the dust bunnies, literally start blank. Number 2 is it's kind of like those little like dinosaur eggs you can get at like the Dollar Tree, and you pop them in water and they go from this big to huge, right? Into these big sponges. That's kind of how it feels when you empty your space. It goes from this contained closet or cabinet or whatever it is, and then you take it all out and you're like, how did all of that fit in here? Where's all this stuff coming from? You now have like a mountain of stuff. So it helps as you move through the next steps of purging, seeing everything visibly. It's crazy. It changes your perspective. So empty the space, number 1, super important. Once you start pulling everything out of your closet, you're gonna start categorizing or sorting them. So in your closet, you're gonna have, maybe ladies will have shoes and purses, belts, blouses. You can categorize them by sleeves. So you've got tank tops, short sleeves, long sleeves, sweaters, and you're just gonna start making piles. So as you start to pull all of your stuff out of your closet and feel like you're destroying your bedroom, making piles, you're gonna have organized chaos in your room of categorized stacks, basically. So you'll look around your room and you'll have a pile of blouses or shoes or pants, what have you. And from there, it's what I think is the fun part of purging, of getting rid of things, clearing the space, so that your closet can feel lighter and fresher. And you will visit each little mountain or anthill that you've created per category, and you will go through and, this is the part as an organizer that it's very different client to client. Some people are awesome at just saying goodbye to things and letting go, and it's not a big deal. They can just let go. But for some, letting go is really hard. There's the sentimental value to each thing they own. So it takes a lot longer. It's mentally tougher. So wherever you fall in that area, give yourself some grace in the purging or editing portion of your closet, because it's work, and it can be, like mentally tough to just go through and just look at everything, touch everything, potentially try everything on. So that part can either be really fun or really daunting, just kind of depends on your personality. So that is the purge portion. I didn't mention, when I do the purging with my clients, I like to set them up with like visible stations, or like bagging stations, really. So if they are going to trash something, it goes into a black trash bag. If they are going to donate something, it goes into a white trash bag. And then everything they keep just stays where it is in the room, in its little categorized pile. Having the color-coded bags, or even if you're using bins or boxes, it just helps make sure that your donates are not getting put back in your closet, because that's not what we want. And then finally is the install and contain portion. So this is where you take everything that is left as your keepers, and it goes back in the closet. The installation is product. Even though this is the last step, I highly, highly, highly recommend, don't wait to go to the Container Store or Target or wherever when you are at this step. I can't say this enough. It is like a total mojo killer to get to this point, and then you're like, oh, well, gotta go to the store. And you just have to stop, go to the store, maybe they have everything you need, maybe they don't, and come back and try to piece it back together. It's best to make your product shop the first thing that you do. Whether you go to the store and purchase it or order it online, however you decide to do product, get it first. And I also advise getting a lot, because sometimes, even though we measure, it doesn't always fit. And those baskets, like, they may work on one side of my shelf, but they don't work on the other side, even though it looks to be the same size. And again, like, I don't want to get to the installation portion and have to drop everything because I need one more basket. So go to the Container Store or wherever you get your product, go there first. And tips for buying product. I've mentioned the Container Store a couple times just because it is my go-to as an organizer. It's easy, it's convenient, they have everything. However, it is pricey. And organizing a closet or whatever space, the product adds up very quickly. You could have 6, 10, 20 baskets in your closet, and they're all $20 to $30 a piece. And they're just holding, sheets or old, like, winter accessories that you use once a year. So it adds up. And I believe very firmly that your closet can be organized without costing $1,000 at the Container Store or a ton of money. It doesn't have to break the bank. So Target and Walmart are both great resources. Sorry, Kat, I know you don't have those. But they're great resources for, like, quality, cheaper product, baskets, hangers, everything. Walmart has impressed me so much over the last year with what they have available, mostly online, but they carry very similar brands to what the Container Store has. So I always like to check there first before I order anything from the bigger box stores like Container Store. So make sure you check Walmart, Target, and then if you're feeling really adventurous, or maybe you just don't know what aesthetic you want in your space. Do you want, white bins? Do you want plastic or natural woven? Do you have like no idea what you want it to look like? I cautiously recommend going to a place like Home Goods. And I say cautiously because, uh, well, if you're a girl who has been to Home Goods, you probably know it's so easy to be like, oh, bath towels. Oh, like I like that pot. Those are cute mugs. They have everything, and it's not organized like a place. It's not organized like Target, where it's all your organizing is in one aisle. So if you go to Home Goods, it's great for ideas and to kind of get your wheels turning as far as how you want your space to look. Just give yourself a time limit, and stick to your list of, I need baskets or I need hangers, and get in, get out. Otherwise, you're going to get sucked in, and have a shopping cart full of all kinds of things. So those are some of my tips for buying products. And I could probably talk to you for a very long time about all of the products that is like my go-to items, but there's tons. And so I just want to focus on, again, some of the cost-effective things that make the biggest bang for your buck, to get your closet started. And number one is going to be
And
hangers.
Sasha,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you, but there was just one comment while you're on like products.
Yeah.
So they were asking like, what are good brands for bins? Something sturdy because they're moving soon. So suggestion.
Good brands for bins. If it's something that they want to use while they're moving, I would recommend like a tote, so a plastic tote, like Rubbermaid or Weather Tight, I think is the one that I use, from the Container Store, and it's waterproof and it's super sturdy. As far as baskets or bins that look pretty and are also like heavy duty, the water hyacinth baskets at both Target and the Container Store. I think the Target ones are Threshold. They are super heavy duty. I prefer the natural look, compared to like plastic or acrylic bins, but those would be my go-to for moving. But I think like a tote, like a Weather Tight or Rubbermaid would be ideal for a move. Back to hangers. Rubbermaid is very hard to find these days. Huh, I didn't know that. Check Home Depot and Lowe's also have their own lines of seriously heavy duty bins. I've popped in there for a couple garage projects. They have the clamp-on kinds that are awesome. Oh, and Costco. They're jumping on the organizing train too. So all places, great places to check out with budget-friendly items. Hangers. So biggest bang for your buck when you are doing your closet. Once you've done all the editing, the purging, hangers are huge, and they're tiny little things that take up a lot of space, depending on what you have. So my biggest no when I am doing a closet is, Ashley is hiding in shame, is plastic hangers. They can look nice, and if you have like mountains of space, cool, like I am proud of you, like that's great. We don't. And these tiny little hangers, like it may not look like much, but the plastic hangers take up more space on your rack. So 10 white hangers versus 10 hangers like this, just a heavy duty aluminum hanger. This is not a dry cleaner hanger. It's much heavy dutier. I'm going to send you guys links. They're from Amazon. These work wonders if you are limited on bar space. Now, my husband loves these ones, and they work for his t-shirts, polos. That's pretty much all he wears. However, I have a lot of tank tops. They work for my t-shirts, but tank tops, dresses, like things like that, they kind of tend, the straps slide off. So the alternative is the velvet hanger. And these are just velvet. They are narrow like the aluminum hanger. So again, they don't take up space like those big bulky plastic ones. So space savers, no wire hangers. Okay. So the velvet ones are, this is what most of my clients end up using. It's their preference. It's easy to just swap them all out. And I don't know if you can see, but behind me, everything is on velvet, and it looks super uniform. There's nothing like poking up or like sliding off, because even on the plastic hangers, you do tend to get some things like slipping and sliding. But if they are on these guys, you're saving space and they're not moving. Okay, so that's my number one tip: no plastic hangers. Okay. Number two, the next easiest thing, and this one is free, would be color coding. And my girls that I've worked with at Lululemon, they know this well. Roy G. Biv, so color coding like the rainbow, but I take it one extra step and I bookend the rainbow portion with white and black. So I'm gonna try to move y'all so you can see a little better. I'm gonna head back here. So back here, I've got my sleeveless tops, and they're bookended with white and black. So when I see white, that's where my tank tops start. And when I see black, this is where they end. And so the next white object or item is a different style. So it goes white, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. I think I did that right. And then black. And so once it's once it's on black, then I know anything that's behind the black is going to be a new style. And that kind of keeps, you know, if you have a huge bar section, it keeps things organized. So you know, like, okay, like these are all my tank tops and these are all my dresses. It's like clearly noted by color. And that's going to be really the easiest fix, I think. Definitely the cheapest fix. And you can do this with, I've kind of done it with my pants. So all of my light denim is folded together, and then it gets darker as you move to the right. And pretty much my entire closet is color coded this way, and it keeps it uniform and easy to know what's what, where my sweaters are compared to my short sleeves, and how things start and finish. And yeah, so Roy G. Biv, bookend it, black and white. Those are my favorite tips. What else do I have for you as far as tips? Oh, okay, a couple other hacks. Let me catch up on these comments real quick. Okay, so we live in Texas. Lots of you have boots, even though it's 100 degrees right now. I know everyone probably has a pair of cowboy boots, maybe some winter boots for 6 months from now when it's a little cooler. But I have found that storing my boots on a shoe rack, they all tend to flop over. And boot fillers can be really, really pricey. So I'm gonna show you. These are just a pair regular cowboy boots. They're a little bit slouchy, yeah. So when they go on the shelf, especially when they're next to each other, they just tend to go wherever they want. And because they're tall, they have to sit on the top shelf, and they just all tend to flop over. So instead of buying a $5-10 boot filler for each pair of boots that I have, and I have a lot, so it adds up, I just take those magazines that you get in the mail that that you end up recycling or throwing out, and you just roll it up like so. I tape the bottom and the top, and then you have like a little cylinder, very similar to the $10 boot filler. It goes in, you push it all the way, push all the way in, and then no more willy-nilly boots. They stick up straight, and it's problem solved. The other option for this, instead of the magazines, because it did take me a while to collect enough to do my boots, pool noodles. So you can just buy some pool noodles, at H-E-B or Walmart, wherever, and you can just cut them to fit the shaft of your boot. And for the most part, they should be, I wouldn't buy jumbo pool noodles, but the smaller ones will fit inside of your boot. You can just slice them, and then you have a cheap boot liner. So another favorite tip, cheap and easy. What other creative ideas? Let's see. If you have like a vanity or you get ready in your closet, I know some clients have had their whole makeup, hair, all of that in their closet, which leaves like lots of products all over the countertop. Mason jars to hold Q-tips, makeup brushes, or even just reusing jars from your refrigerator when you are out of pickles and you empty your jar. Peel the label off and put a little ribbon on it, stick it on your vanity. It can hold your makeup brushes, pens, what have you. I love to reuse jars for that instead of buying all the crazy contraptions to hold brushes. Just stick it in a jar. Super easy. Those are all my fun little tips. And my last thing that I want to share is I got a question on how to stay organized. And I wish this was a one size fits all, like I knew the answer, but it's really different person to person. I'm married and we just have dogs, and some of you might just be a single person living alone, which looks totally different than mom and dad and 3 kids all living under the same roof, especially now, like 24/7 under the same roof. So the biggest takeaway though is to stay organized. Just do it in the moment. If you see something, even if it's just a tiny little task, do it then. And if there's nothing that you see, like, there's nothing going on, like no craziness, set a timer and just do a minute of something, whether it's straightening all the hanging clothes in your closet or refolding one of your drawers, because it doesn't take hardly any time. Just doing one small task over an entire week and then an entire month, it really adds up so that you're not having to do huge projects, every 3 months in your closet or in your pantry. And the other closet tip would be 1 in, 1 out. So this was something that I adopted about a year ago, and I was working a retail job and shopping all the time because I had a discount and it was just easy. And I was like, why wouldn't I buy this? It's basically free. But my closet was just overwhelmed. I wasn't wearing things. There was stuff in my closet hanging with tags on it for months. And so to really get a grip on that, I decided like this has to stop. You're a shopaholic. So anytime I bought something else had to leave my closet. So if I bought a new pair of leggings, I had to get rid of an old pair of leggings so that I was never needing to buy new hangers. I was always just staying like at capacity. I was never exceeding that. And if I knew that I was going to be hitting up a big sale, which someone mentioned. uh, one in, one out after the J. Crew factory store Memorial Day sale makes me break out in hives. Yeah, I feel you. I feel that on another level. So yeah, if I hit up a big sale, I go in knowing, okay, whatever I buy has to be really, really awesome because it's gonna replace something. And I have to love it. It has to be useful. It can't just be pretty, and I like it. So that tip has changed how I shop in the last year. With coronavirus and quarantine, I've been a little like click happy on the internet, but for the most part, the one in, one out stands, and I would give it a whirl if you've never tried it. It's definitely some good accountability for when you're shopping. I don't recommend it for, I don't know, what other areas. Just do it in the closet. But yeah, that's my final tip. I don't think I can do a folding tutorial in my closet. I will make sure that you guys have access to my folding, so you can fold how I do and get your drawers all looking crisp. There are some on my Instagram, but I'll make sure I email you guys some videos. Any tips for jewelry? Actually, yes, I do. Let me go grab my jewelry stand real quick just to show you an example. Okay, so jewelry is something I recently redid for myself. And I had a client that had these and they were amazing. I loved them in her space. They're just like $10 earring storage on Amazon, but they're really narrow. They don't take up a lot of dresser space. And so I use these for my earrings. And then I actually have something similar. It's tiered like this, but it has arms that I use for my necklaces, bracelets, watches, and they're vertical, so they don't take up like desk space or flat space. So they're out of the way. I just push them to the back of my dresser. And then when I need to get a new pair of earrings or a necklace out, I just pull it off. Super easy. They're both from Amazon. I'll link them in the email. I highly recommend them. They don't take up any space. They're kind of cute. I get to see everything versus them being like in a jewelry box, or shoved in a drawer somewhere. Belt and tie storage for the gentleman. So it's not super organized like I would like it, but my husband actually has a belt organizer behind me. So again, another Amazon find. It just mounts to the wall and you can hang belts, ties. It has, I want to say like 20 to 25 hooks on it. So it fits a lot and it's out of the way. It doesn't get tangled like some of the ones that go on your bars, like on your hanging racks. I find that those tend to get tangled up a little bit because all the ties are just all together. I really like this one because they're spaced out perfect and they don't get all wrapped up. All right, I think that is all of the other questions. Oh, what is my favorite thing to organize? Okay, I'll answer this one. Oh, that's hard. Pantries are probably my favorite thing to organize. And the best part about pantries is the snack drawer. And usually they have to have kids, but they're so colorful and there's so many things. It's like, it's an organizer's dream, really, because all the product is filled to the brim and it's just, it looks so perfect and it's like color coordinated and there's goldfish and there's pretzels and it's full. It's great until the kids come home and it's like chaos. But snack drawers are my jam. Love that. Love a good snack drawer. That's probably my favorite. Okay. Oh, okay. tips for organizing with kids. So although I don't have children, I've been a nanny for like the last 10 years. So I've worked with kids a lot, and I will just be honest and say that organizing your home to make it look like Pinterest or a magazine with children is pretty unattainable. However, I think that there's a happy medium between just mass chaos of like stuff everywhere and finding a way to involve them with the organization. So, you know, with kids, it's like creating a system for them. Like I mentioned, the snack drawer, it's on their level. They can see everything. They can do it themselves, which is huge for them. You know, mom doesn't have to go into the pantry, get their snack for them. It's all eye level. They can grab it. It's appropriate snacks that they're allowed to have. The other things that I've seen work great for kids are like drop zones. So like coming in the back door or wherever your area is that you come home like from school, and having a space for each child to drop their stuff, whether it's a little basket that has their name on it or a whole cubby or something where they can drop their backpack, drop their sports bag, their sports equipment, kick off their shoes, and it all stays in their space. It doesn't go anywhere else. It has to go there, and it helps keep everyone's stuff separate and from going onto the kitchen counter, onto the kitchen table. They know that if they have to do homework or they need stuff out of their bag, that it ends up in their space or their basket with their name on it every day. Baskets with labels and names on them are super helpful with kids. I know that like sibling fighting of like, well, that's not mine, that's his, or that's so and so's, and like I didn't do that, I didn't put that there. It's like if it's a game, or if it's, you know, it's setting that timer, just like I mentioned earlier, like set the timer, give them a minute and say, okay, how can we get like everything organized or put away? Who can do it the fastest? And get everything put into bins, put into their little cubbies or their homes, and try to have fun with it. But at the end of the day, I understand that it's a struggle to keep a whole family organized all the time. Baskets, cubbies, and labels, I think, are going to be your biggest helper in that arena for kiddos. Okay, moving seasonal clothes to another closet or storage container. This, I feel like, is dependent on the client or the family. I've nannied for families that have great attic storage, and they do closet rotations every 6 months. So spring and summer stuff comes down, winter and fall goes up. You know, if that's you, if you have the space, if you have the wardrobe that takes up that much space to need to rotate, then I would say go for it. It does create a little bit extra work to have to rotate through every 6 months on top of, you know, just keeping things organized in general. But it's definitely doable. Again, if you have a big wardrobe and you don't have a big closet space, then yeah, it might be something that you need to consider, because you don't want to have all your winter coats out with all your summer stuff when you have a teeny tiny closet. But like I mentioned with the moving bins and boxes, I would say if you are going to do that to rotate your closets, I would use something that is weather tight, that clamps on, that's really heavy duty, because you do not want any of the Texas critters and creatures to be getting into your wardrobe and living there for 6 months. So that's a tip for that. But all right, looks like that is all of the questions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that was amazing information, Sasha. Thank you so much for that. Does anybody have any final questions before we all jump off? And we will send out the recording of this to everybody that attended and those that weren't able to attend. And Sasha's going to follow up and send you guys out a lot of great links and more information as well. So feel free. She'll have all of her contact information in there. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions after this or if you need any information. But we really appreciate everybody being on here. So thank you guys.
Thank you all. It's good to see you guys.
Bye. Thank you, Sasha.
Bye.